Weird, also known as suggesting something supernatural or uncanny, peculiar if you will, magical if you so insist, freaky if you so desire, absolutely positively funky fresh and unnaturally strange if you would be so inclined. What am I getting at? Weirdcore. The weird of cores, the strangest and most peculiar core there is. An aesthetic of the bizarre. Not the adventure kind of bizarre, but the outlandishly abnormal kind of bizarre. This aesthetic has been on the rise for quite a while now, as you can see, and I'm sure everyone has seen the classic Weirdcore images but with funky fresh Town 2.0 OST slideshow videos on their recommended from time to time, but what actually makes something considered weirdcore? This is where it gets a little complicated. You see, the term weirdcore is an extremely loose term that doesn't actually have a solidified meaning yet. One thing that's for sure is that it doesn't just mean anything that's weird. In reality, it's a lot deeper than that. Personally, I'm very passionate about this aesthetic, and I hope to portray the intricacies of what makes it so special. Welcome to the wacky world of weirdcore. The aesthetic of weirdcore as we know it today is said to originate soon after the dawn of time, aka 2017, but in reality this aesthetic has pretty much been existent ever since the early internet. It's only recently that it actually started to be recognized as its own aesthetic. Weirdcore games such as LSD Dream Emulator literally came out in the 1990s, but nobody actually called it weirdcore yet. Weirdcore is an aesthetic that is centered around invoking feelings of confusion, disorientation, nostalgia, or even a dreamlike feeling. It can make you feel uncomfortable or very comfortable, depending on what connection you have with the elements of a specific image. Visually, the images are inspired by the early ages of the internet. They're usually very compressed, which leaves the intricate details up to the viewer's own mind to fill in. They can also feature nostalgic graphics and edits such as weird borders, word art style text, and badly edited visuals. The pictures themselves are often uncomfortably framed pictures or liminal spaces to give it that dreamlike feeling. The subject of the images is always something completely random, out of context, and vague, with supporting text to make the already non-existent context even more confusing. A good weirdcore image feels like a snapshot of a fever dream you had as a kid. The feeling of dread as everything you find familiar slowly morphs into something it's not, making you question whether or not you were experiencing reality. But sometimes it can be comforting. It can portray the blissful feeling of a nice dream, the sweet nostalgia of being a child. But there's always something off, something missing. Maybe the door opens to sky instead of outside. Maybe things are labeled what they're not. Maybe your mind is blocking things from your memory, things that you were never quite meant to remember, yet their remnants are still there, waiting for you behind the ominous black square. This aesthetic is fully dependent on interpretation. Just like a dream, a good weirdcore image can be interpreted differently by every viewer. But what goes into making an image truly considered weirdcore? Let's break down the different elements of these images to get a better understanding of how the aesthetic works. Many weirdcore images have completely out of context or incomplete captions. Let's take a look at a few examples first. Have you experienced a bizarre and inexplicable event? Well, you're not alone. Don't panic. Well, that wasn't very nice. We owe you an explanation. It might rain soon. It might rain soon. Don't worry, it does that sometimes. You deserve happiness too. Greetings. Nowhere to go. This is our home. What are those things? Understand. You're being too loud. What's interesting about these captions is that there is never a concrete answer as to who is actually speaking these words, or who they are even speaking to. Are they directly talking at you, or do they just exist as thoughts? But whose thoughts are they? Your own subconscious? An intruder in your mind? God himself? Sometimes it feels as if the speaker has experienced this before, like they're you from the future. Or they could just be a character in the dream that your own subconscious made up. Whoever it is, the things they say is always extremely out of context and doesn't even connect with what you were seeing at all. Sometimes it's as simple as a random statement. Wait for me, I'll be home soon. Many people have this power. I can't feel anything. Final destination. Traces left by him. It's getting windy. TV time. Losing sight of reality. Horrible. All we have is now. It was all your fault. Programming. Sometimes they are specifically telling you to do something, as if they have more knowledge than you about this world. But why are they ordering you around? Are they trying to deceive you or keep you safe? Try it. Take a dip. Come sit with me. Jump in, the atmosphere is fine. Please try again. Go for a swim. Or are they simply warning you about something beyond your comprehension? Stay away from the plastic flowers, you may become plastic as well. Avoid, get away! Something about this feels wrong. They watch for things we cannot see. Danger lies ahead! Don't look at them! Is something following you? Run. I can hear something coming. Sometimes these strange captions ask us questions, but why? Are they testing you? Do they actually want an answer? If your own subconscious created this dream, then don't you already have the answer? Can you see them? Do you see me? I can feel your eyes. How many lives do we have left? Did you hear that too? Do you ever think about the things you've ruined? Hey, where'd the sun go? Sometimes they give you a choice. You reach a fork in your path and you need to choose. Do you want control? Yes, maybe, no. Alert, you now have a choice. Process, escape. Exit reality? Yes, no. Having strange dreams? Stop, or continue? Dream number 1, infinite path. Click to enter. Dream number 2, never alone. Click to enter. Enter reality? Yes, no. They may tell you that everything is a choice, but maybe, in reality, your choice doesn't matter, and the same outcome will happen every single time you have this dream, no matter how hard you try to make the right choice, because in reality, you don't have control over your own dream's outcome. Let's end off this section with an example of one of my favorite Weirdcore captions. I found this old picture of you. This unfamiliar presence speaks to you as if it knows you. It knows everything about you, including the origin of the very atoms that make up your body. This being is God himself. A very common thing in Weirdcore images is when objects or ideas are just simply in the wrong spot, or replaced with something it's not supposed to be. Like how in this image, the atmosphere and the pool water have switched places. This effect is extremely good at portraying how dreams really look like. Whenever your mind constructs a dream world, it's never a complete and flawless world. There's always going to be areas that have not been thought about yet. Like in this image where your mind forgot the details of the grass and it's just rendered as green. Or in these images where the roads and paths just lead to sky. Or in this image where the ground is replaced with red sand. But what if you reach the end of a dream world? What if you visit a place your mind has not even constructed yet? You are approaching the world border. There is nothing beyond this point. You weren't supposed to see the end. It's foggy out there. It seems like you've reached the end. You can always leave, but there's nothing waiting for you on the other side. But what happens when you go beyond this point? What happens when you do leave? What happens if you keep going even if there's a clearly marked dead end? Will you just wake up, or would something even worse happen? Some Weirdcore images use the element of labels to their advantage, but what do the labels even mean? Is it someone trying to tell you something, or is it your mind making an attempt to understand what it's looking at? Sometimes the labels don't have anything other than a red square around a random object, and sometimes the labels are just straight up incorrect. You are here! I literally have your address. My friends! What is it? Let's find out. It'll never be the same. Anomalies! Oftentimes I cannot tell which are real and which are fake. Less oftenly used but just as effective is when a Weirdcore image uses video game inspired elements to trigger nostalgia. The pixelated and repeating textures mixed with the simplified lighting makes these images feel very uncanny. You don't remember? They can also reference things in video games such as checkpoints, weird icons, or confusing UI. You made it to the checkpoint! Stay and rest for a while. Restart? The final thing I want to talk about are the different levels of Weirdcore images. I like to call these auras. The pleasant aura gives the feeling as if you were having a nice dream. There are many elements Weirdcore images can use to portray this aura, such as suburban imagery, which deeply connects with people who grew up in a suburban setting.
It looks like you're waking up now.
Other kinds of nostalgic imagery can also portray this aura. Sparkles and rainbows are also elements used in the pleasant aura. Sparkle effects like this one used to run rampant in the early internet, popularized by websites like Blingy, so it can also have a nostalgic effect on some people. Immerse yourself! 1,000 days. Is it me? These images are mostly comforting and relaxing, but can often be deceiving. Sometimes this aura can feel like it's being pleasant on the surface, but in reality, a sinister presence is hiding deep down, almost as if this fake reality is lying to you. A good example of this comforting but not feeling is when the images use heavenly imagery. For some people, the religious symbols can cause comfort, but for others, it can trigger the fear of a godly entity that's only pretending to be friendly. Ascend! Rejoice. I don't feel anything. Not anymore. God's light. Welcome to heaven. The bright light is an element that is often used in Weirdcore images. But what is this bright light, and what does it represent? Is it a sentient being? Is it hostile or friendly? Some images portray the bright light as a character that can speak to you. We waited so long. See it shine once more. Don't worry. Is it something I lost? They are people. Was this what I asked for? Was it worth it? Your journey has come to an end. This is your call. It's time to wake up, wake up, wake. Sometimes the bright light can simply represent the sun. Nothing more than an unreachable, non-sentient star in the sky. Yet it's always there for you. Every morning it rises, and every night it falls. This object is the very reason you even exist. The deep dreaming aura is the portrayal of a completely nonsensical dream that you will most likely have no recollection of once you wake up. These are usually extremely confusing images filled with out-of-context symbols and incorrect geometry. Another creature has been captured! I'm so sorry. Jump! Glow. An extra element these images use is the orb. Confusing orbs of varying textures exist within these deep dreams. Sometimes they are portrayed as a ghostly object, or even solid pieces of light. These moments don't last long. I have absolutely no ideas what these orbs could possibly represent, and honestly, I think that's the point. They don't represent anything. They just simply exist within your deepest dreams. Sometimes when you go too deep into a dream, it starts to become something else. This aura represents a dream on the brink of a nightmare. Everything is out of place, objects start to feel hostile, you feel like you're lost in an area you aren't meant to be in. We're all lost in our own ways. Uh-oh, you're lost again. Below, photographic proof of them. You're so warm! Do your eyes hurt? Good, continue. Is this real? Click here to find out. 2. The soul manifests. But instead of waking up, you go deeper and start to encounter what's known as voids. Such a fine day. I wish was here. I must escape this simulation. Lovely! These voids are usually portrayed as dark splotches in the image. They can also be black squares or circles completely blocking things out. The more and more of these you see, you start to enter the final aura. Before you know it, you've already entered a nightmare. The world around you is often shrouded in darkness, activating the primal fear of the unknown. Where am I? Is this the middle of it all? Wrong location. Rise and shine. Welcome to another beautiful bright morning. No, I'd rather not go in there anymore. Bad news. Goodbye. Nobody is watching you. More and more of the black voids from earlier start to appear. But what do these patches of nothingness mean? What is hidden within these dark regions? Don't look at the screen, it's for your own good. Under no circumstance are you to look. Don't go there. Can you feel it? The dark, undulating presence behind you? This is it. This is how it ends. Maybe it's your own mind trying to protect you from threatening thoughts or memories. Maybe what's hidden behind is something far too powerful for a human mind to comprehend, so it renders itself as a black void when you try to visualize it. But what if it's something foreign? What if an entity is blocking your own memories from yourself? This is your last memory, and I will make sure you forget. But why would anything do that? To protect you or to harm you? You want to know. No matter how many warnings are given, you desperately want to know. So you dig even deeper. Slowly approaching the black void, it begins to envelop you. Maybe this was the wrong decision. Maybe whatever is in here is better left unknown. Unfortunately, it's too late to back out now. You've reached the point of no return. You desperately want to wake up as you start to remember. You realize what it was. You realize why these memories were blocked out in the first place. You desperately want to forget and block this memory behind yet another black void. But even this you remember. You remember blocking this memory before. You were the one who placed these voids in the first place. You were the one who warned yourself of what's behind, yet you still foolishly went back to remember and continue the cycle. Maybe some memories are not worth remembering. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe, and I might make more videos like this. If you want to support me even more, feel free to use the thanks or membership features, or check out my merch, link in the description. Bye!